In my work, I get asked a lot to help build digital strategies, digital playbooks, and I always start with the question of what do we mean by being digital? And I think being digital really comes down to two core attributes. And the first is speed. So if you think about what speed is about predictable excellence, being efficient. It's really our operational excellence capabilities and being able to scale those. The other attribute, which although it sounds similar, is distinctly different, is the attribute of agility. Agility is the ability to sense and make change happen. Sometimes small change, sometimes big change. And it's not enough for companies to be able to be one of those. And I think that's really the key from Amazon's playbook, is that you have to be both a world-class operator and deliver to customer expectations every single time, and you have to be a systematic innovator. You always have to be innovating. Understanding that those are two different playbooks is one of the unlocks that I help bring to an audience. I ran two different businesses there. I launched and scaled the marketplace business at Amazon. That's third-party selling at Amazon.com. Today, that's well over 50% of all units shipped and sold at Amazon, about 2 million third-party sellers. And I also ran enterprise services at Amazon, where we ran other large retailers, e-commerce infrastructure for them. A couple of key lessons from that. First, that was the third iteration. In 2002, as early as that is in Amazon's life cycle, it's the third iteration of a third-party selling strategy. I faced enormous internal resistance and competition from that. First, because we had tried it a third time. We had tried it twice before. Why is a third time going to make any difference? And the second was, I was introducing sellers that were going to compete with Amazon merchants, right? We were going to compete in books, we were going to compete in electronics, we were going to compete in home. So what are the lessons that we can take from this? First is that most of these are not really technical innovations by themselves, right? They're more or less something that benefits a customer and it changes a business tradition, and that inherently makes people uncomfortable. The second is, you have to be willing to stick with it for a long time. Today, we can't imagine a world without free everyday shipping, right? Most of us expect free reverse shipping, right? But at that point, it sounded ridiculous, right? It sounded counterintuitive. Bezos always says, if you're going to innovate, you have to be willing to be misunderstood, oftentimes for long periods of time. And so that's the last point is, it does take time for customer adoption to happen. So think about, what are the conventions in your business that don't favor the customer, that aren't really technical in nature, that would bring more trust for your customer and make the bet that over time, if it benefits the customers, you and your partners will win big time. Amazon has 14 leadership principles, and I think the leadership principles and the consistency and application of those at Amazon is one of the real keys for how they're such a large organization today, but relatively non-bureaucratic and relatively nimble, with leaders at every point in the organization running their business. They always say at Amazon that the leadership principles are not a poster on the wall, that they're inserted into every meeting and everybody uses them, and people are evaluated relative to those leadership principles. And I think understanding that leadership is actually a set of practical skills. There are processes, there are mechanisms for how we have leadership, which is the things we do in order to get the results that we want. That's the key answer that the Amazon way and my discussions help bring to an audience.